Welcome to Her Money Revolution. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, your guide on this journey to becoming a wealthy woman. As a certified financial planner, owner, and advisor at Family Capital Management, I'm on a mission to simplify the conversation around investing and to help women generate more wealth by making their money work for them. Join me as we navigate powerful financial planning strategies to help you achieve your personal and professional goals. This podcast is your go-to destination for no fluff, easy to implement financial and investing advice. If you are ready to achieve audacious financial goals, dream beyond boundaries, and generate massive wealth for you and your family, this podcast is for you. Grab a notebook. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Her Money Revolution, the podcast where we empower women to grow their wealth by making their money work for them. I'm your host, Angela Brooks, and today's episode feels really special to me because today, actually, on this very day, July 9, it officially marks 2 years of Her Money Revolution. Wow. Honestly, that feels so surreal to say that out loud. When I first started this podcast, I had no idea what it would become. I didn't know who would listen. I didn't know if anyone would care. I didn't know if I was qualified enough. I didn't know if I could consistently do it. And honestly, that might be the hardest part of having a podcast is that consistency. Life is busy. Running a business is busy. Raising 3 kids is busy. Yet every week I still need to, because I'm not going anywhere, but I still need to sit down and think through what women are struggling with financially and create content that is actually helpful and relevant and worth your time. There have been plenty of days when it would have been so much easier to skip an episode or push it off until next week. But I believe that these conversations matter. Money impacts so much more than just our bank accounts or our investment accounts. It touches everything. It affects our relationships, our confidence, our choices, and our future. So here we are, 2 years later. And even though I was scared out of my mind. I showed up and I still show up sometimes scared because deep inside of me, I know this matters. I know women need these conversations. Families need more financial clarity. I know too many people are silently carrying stress and fear, shame, overwhelm, and confusion around money. And I believe that financial education needs to feel more human. It needs to be more approachable. So today, I thought it would be fun and hopefully encouraging to reflect on what these last 2 years have taught me about money, about growth, business, purpose, and honestly about myself. I started writing this episode. I sat down and I started okay, what lessons have I learned over the last 2 years? And the list was long, but I highlighted the top 6, and I want to go through those with you today. Lesson number 1. Most people do not need more shame. They need more confidence. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the last 2 years is this. Most people are not lazy with money. They're overwhelmed. They're intimidated or just flat out scared to make the wrong decision. The financial world can sometimes and oftentimes make people feel stupid, especially women. There's so much jargon. There's so much pressure. There's so much comparison and so much fear-based messaging. It's gross. I'm so over the fear-based messaging in this world. But what I've learned working with hundreds of families is this: confidence changes everything. When people begin understanding their finances, even just a little more than they did before, they start making better decisions. Not because they suddenly became financial experts overnight, not at all. But because fear starts losing its grip. Lesson number 2, wealth is about so much more than money. When I started Her Money Revolution, it was never about helping people accumulate the most money possible. I've always said that I want you to live a rich life. And over the last 2 years, this podcast has only strengthened that belief. A rich life is about having enough money to support what matters most. Sure. But wealth itself is so much bigger than a dollar amount. It's your relationships. It's your health, your faith, your purpose, your ability to spend your time in alignment with your values. It's having the freedom to make choices that reflect who you are and what matters most to you, not the comparison game and what others care or think about, but what matters to you. The word revolution means a turnaround, a shift in the way that we think and act to become something better. And when I started this podcast, I really reflected on that. And to me, a personal money revolution isn't just about improving your finances. It's about transforming your relationship with money so that it becomes a tool, not a goal. It's about stepping into your power, making intentional decisions, and creating a life that feels rich in every sense of the word. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to die with the biggest investment account. The goal is to use your resources to build a life that you love, to step into your God-given purpose. Lesson number 3, women are far more capable than they believe. If there's one thing that I've learned over the last 2 years of conversations and interviews, client meetings, podcast episodes, webinars, it's this. Women are far more capable than they give themselves credit for. So many women tell me, I'm just not good with money, or my husband handles all of that, or I don't know enough to make a financial decision. I'm really ignorant when it comes to investing in finances. And yet these same women are running households, leading teams, raising children, managing schedules, solving problems, caring for aging parents, building amazing businesses, making hundreds of important decisions every single day. The capability is already there, ladies. What is often missing is not intelligence. It is not work ethic. It is not potential. What I believe it is, it's not even confidence. You have the confidence. What's missing is the confirmation of the confidence that's already inside of them. I've watched women navigate the death of a spouse, go through divorce, a job loss, a business transition, retirement, and then great things too, vacations, a birth of a grandchild or their own child, and countless other life changes. Time and time again, they raise to the occasion, not because they had all of the answers from the beginning, but because they discovered they were stronger, they were wiser, and way more capable than they ever imagined. Most women don't need someone to fix them. They don't need someone to take over. They need someone to see them. They need someone to help them see what has already been there. One of my favorite parts of this podcast has been watching women realize that they can do this, and you can too. They can understand their finances. They can ask good questions. They can make wise decisions. They can create a vision for their future and take action toward it. The confidence was never missing. Sometimes it just needs to be uncovered. And if there's one message I hope every listener takes away these last 2 years, it's this, that you are more capable than you think, and you always have been. Lesson number 4, fear keeps people stuck longer than failure does. Over the last 2 years, I've learned that most people are not held back by a lack of knowledge. They're held back by fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of investing at the wrong time, fear of changing jobs, starting a business, fear of retiring or fear of not retiring, fear of having a difficult conversation, and fear of failing. And while failure can certainly be painful, I found that fear often costs us so much more. Failure teaches us something. Fear keeps us standing still. I've watched people spend years waiting for the perfect time to start investing, only to realize that waiting costs them more than any market downturn would have. I've seen people stay in situations that they know aren't right because the uncertainty of change felt scarier than the discomfort of staying where they were. And the truth is, ladies, very few of our biggest regrets come from trying and failing. Most come from knowing what we should have done and never taking that first step. That doesn't mean that we should be reckless, of course. It doesn't mean that we ignore wisdom or thoughtful planning. It's not what I'm saying. But at some point, growth requires action. A personal revolution happens when we stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And we start asking, what if it does? The women I've admired most over the past 2 years aren't fearless. They're women who choose to move forward even while they were afraid. They show up scared. And more often than not, they discovered that the thing that they feared wasn't nearly as powerful as they thought. Fear promises safety, but often delivers stagnation. Courage doesn't require certainty. It simply requires the willingness to take the next step. Lesson number 5. Your life can change faster than you think. If there's one thing that I've learned from 2 years of podcast conversations and client stories and life itself is this, that your life can change faster than you think. A diagnosis, a promotion, a layoff, a marriage, divorce, the loss of someone you love, a new baby, a new opportunity, a phone call that changes everything. We tend to think that life changes gradually, and sometimes it does. And oftentimes life changes in an instant. I've sat across from people who thought that they had decades to prepare, only to find themselves making major decisions much sooner than they expected. I've also watched people take one brave step, a new job, a new relationship, a new exciting business, a new mindset, and completely transform the trajectory of their lives. That's why I've become such a believer in preparation. Not because preparation prevents change, no, but because it gives you options when change comes. Financial planning isn't about predicting the future. It's about creating enough flexibility. It's about creating margin and confidence that when life changes, as it inevitably will, you can respond rather than react. But this lesson goes way beyond just money. Don't wait to take that trip. Don't wait to mend the relationship. Don't wait to pursue the dream. Don't wait to tell people that you love them. Don't wait until someday, because someday has a way of arriving much sooner than we expected. The beautiful thing is that this truth works both ways. The challenge you're facing today may not define your future. The opportunity that you've been praying for may be closer than you realize. The breakthrough that you've been waiting on could be one decision, one conversation, or one act of courage away. Your life can change faster than you think. So be prepared, stay hopeful, and keep moving forward. You never know what God may have around the corner for you. A lot can happen in a year. Even more can happen in 2. And sometimes everything can change in a moment. Lesson number 6, consistency matters more than perfection. This lesson may be the one that I've lived most personally over the last 2 years. When I started Her Money Revolution, I didn't have a perfect plan. I didn't have a studio. I didn't have a content team. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. What I did have was a belief that the message matters. So I started and I kept going. And here we are 2 years later. Some of the episodes, I'll say some were better than others. Some weeks I felt inspired. Other weeks I was recording between sport events, other kids' activities, the realities of everyday life, between client calls. But I've learned that progress rarely comes from doing something perfectly. It comes from doing it consistently. And the same is true with money. Most people don't build wealth because they make one brilliant financial decision. Some do, most don't. They build wealth because they save consistently, they invest consistently, spend intentionally, and keep showing up year after year. The same is true with your health, with relationships, faith, parenting, like nearly everything else in life that matters. Consistency. We often overestimate what we can accomplish in a day and underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade. Perfection makes us feel like we have to get everything right before we begin. Consistency reminds us that small actions, repeated over time, create extraordinary results. Looking back over the last 2 years of the moment that I decided to do this and hit play, I am so grateful I didn't wait until I felt fully ready. If I had, we probably would not have this podcast and I wouldn't be celebrating 2 years today. The goal was never perfection. The goal was simply to keep showing up. And if there's one thing that I hope that you've learned from this podcast, it's that you don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. If you're about to close on that building because you're starting a new business, do it. All you need to do is just take the next right step and then take another and another. Because in the end, consistency almost always beats perfection. Those small actions repeated faithfully over time, that's where the real transformation happens. So in reflecting on 2 years of Her Money Revolution, what I hope this podcast has become is so much more than just about money. Because when I started 2 years ago, I wasn't trying to create the biggest financial podcast. I simply wanted to create a space where women could learn about money without judgment, intimidation, or shame. A place where financial conversations felt approachable, a place where questions were welcomed, where women could grow in both knowledge and confidence and confirmation of the confidence they already have. As the podcast has evolved, my hope has grown too. Today, I hope that Her Money Revolution has become more than just a podcast. I hope it has become a reminder that money is a tool, not a measure of your worth. I hope it has become a source of encouragement for you navigating life's biggest transitions and maybe some tough decisions. I hope it has become a place where you can feel seen and supported, empowered to take the next step, whether that's creating a spending plan or investing for the first time or having a difficult conversation, changing careers maybe. Maybe you're wanting to start a business or simply believe that you are capable of managing your finances and your financial future. That is my hope. I hope that it has become a community of women who are choosing to live intentionally. Women who understand that a rich life is about way more than just money. Women who are aligned with their spending, with their values. Women who are building wealth, not for wealth's sake, but to create freedom and opportunity, generosity, impact, service to others. If you've listened to one episode, or maybe all of them, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your time. Thank you for allowing me into your walks or your workouts or your commutes to and from work. Thank you for inviting me into your quiet moments. And thank you for being a part of this journey. The truth is, Her Money Revolution was never really about me. It was always about you. And my hope is that every episode has helped you take one more step toward becoming the woman God created you to be. Confident, intentional, wise, unafraid to take ownership of your future. Because that's what a revolution really is. Not one dramatic moment, but a series of small decisions that gradually transform the direction of your life. And I hope that's exactly what Her Money Revolution has helped you do. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing my episodes with your friends and your sisters, your daughters, your coworkers, even your spouses. Man, if you're listening, thank you. Thank you for trusting me. It's not lost on me that every time you press play, you are giving me something incredibly valuable, your time. In a world filled with endless content, I am deeply honored that you have chosen to spend some of that time with me. So thank you. My prayer for Her Money Revolution is to help women live more intentionally. And I think that you are doing just that. So whether you've been here since episode number 1 or you found this podcast last week, thank you for being a part of the community. And in closing, if you've been waiting for a sign to finally learn more about money, start investing, ask questions, stay curious, create a plan, dream bigger, or take that next step, let this be it, because your future deserves your attention and your voice matters in your financial life. 2 years in, and honestly, I feel like we're just getting started. Until next time, keep building, keep believing, keep pushing, and keep blessing others. I'll see you next time on Her Money Revolution. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you are feeling more empowered in your financial journey. Remember, follow and subscribe to Her Money Revolution on your favorite podcast platform and share your feedback by leaving a review. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaway from today's episode. Until next time, stay inspired.